And welcome to today's Explorium.ai session at the Intelligent Data Summit, where we'll explore Explorium's automated external data platform for advanced analytics and machine learning. And let me welcome our speaker this morning, Ajay Khanna, CMO at Explorium. Ajay, welcome.
Thank you so much, Vance.
We're glad to have Ajay with us. He drives customer success and education for Explorium, and he brings a decade or more of data-centric and machine learning expertise, having worked at MDM leader Reltio and Oracle, among others. And his session is entitled The Role of External Data in Machine Learning and BI Success and How to Easily Access It. You know, most organizations realize today that data and their ability to drive analytics and intelligence is crucial to success these days. That said, they often find that they don't have enough data of their own to drive the insights and data models they'd like. Today, with Ajay's help, we'll learn how Explorium fills that gap. In specific, we'll see how Explorium provides a simple and time-efficient external data platform, which uses AI to provide precise access to just the type of high-value external data sources companies are looking for. In fact, we'll see with just a few clicks, data is available from a wide range of sources, including public databases, social media, spending patterns info, and even foot traffic data. So it's a really great session we have in store. Let me just remind you before we hand it to Ajay, you can download today's slides and get some great white papers and other downloads. Just click any of the links under the view screen and they're yours automatically without any added registration. And we love your questions. So to connect with Ajay, just type in the submit a question area. So with that, Ajay, let me turn to you and tell us about the role of external data in machine learning and BI success.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vance. So hello, everyone, and welcome again to this session. And we are going to discuss the role of external data in machine learning and BI success and how to easily access it. So let's go and get started. So first of all, what is external data and what are the external data sources? So simply put, external data, and also known as alternative or third-party data, is any data that a company acquires from outside its four walls. It could be a geospatial or satellite data, footfall data, weather data, sensors. You may want to get consumer buying patterns or any kind of even public or private business information like headcounts, like their technographic data, firmographics data. So all this data is outside your four walls and you want to acquire that, augment your internal data to make better decisions. In a recent survey with Deloitte, they said that 92% of data analytic professionals said that their companies needed to increase the use of external data sources. And for a good reason. Let's see why. So we have seen a surge in the demand for external data, especially during these recent COVID times, during the pandemic situation, when the internal data and the historical models were not really sufficient or they became irrelevant to make decisions. And so companies started to look for external data sources to augment their internal data so that they can make better decisions around credit risk modeling, around lending, around underwriting. And that's where we saw a surge in the demand for external data as well. And there were like multiple reports published recently, and I'm sharing some of those here, like MIT Management. They published a report why external data should be part of your data strategy. They said that incorporating external or third-party data is an important part of any data analytics program. Similarly, McKinsey Digital, they said a well-structured plan for using external data can provide a competitive edge. So it is about getting that competitive edge or seeking alpha, as a financial industry would put it. And a very interesting report around that, harnessing the power of external data. I would highly recommend reading these reports as well. And another one which came across recently was with Deloitte, where they are saying that outside data can bring lots of opportunity, but using it effectively can be challenging. So we are going to address these things in today's session. And the last but not least, Gartner did a survey around barriers to AI implementation, and data appeared quite prominently in there as well. So you need data for your AI programs to be successful. At Explorium, we did our own survey, and it was released in March, where we found that 79% of US data leaders, they consider external data to be very valuable. And this is across industries, across use cases. And many use cases that we see our customers using external data for include understanding the customer lifetime value, Facebook retargeting, and small business loans and default risk. So you want to understand the foot traffic data, especially during the times where the restaurants or the small businesses are partially open. You want to understand their reviews, their social comments, whether it is ratings or Yelp reviews. You want to incorporate those to make those kind of like loan lending decisions. Promotion scheduling, lead scoring, lead augmentation, claims fraud, and e-commerce recommendation. These are just few use cases that I'm listing here, but the adoption is like across industry and across many use cases where people are using external data to get better insights into their customers, into their businesses, into the risks that their businesses may face. So these are the kind of uses of external data, but it doesn't come without challenges, right? And in the same report, we also revealed that most of the companies, they struggle to find the data that they need. Like it is too much work to find the right data, to get the right data. And once you find the right data, to incorporate the right data and use it, it is also troublesome. So the data is hard. So first of all, it is hard to access. There are just too many sources out there, many public sources, private sources, premier data providers. If you just go to data.gov, you may find like 250,000 data sources out there, from census to from weather data to various kind of data sets are available there. So the question becomes which data to use, which data is going to make an impact. So you don't even know what to look for. So that is another big problem with data access. And once you determine what kind of data that you want or need, the procurement itself takes time. So negotiating the deals, understanding, evaluating the data sets, and taking through your procurement process, it just takes time. Beyond that, external data is tedious to use. So you cannot just procure a data and upload a file and start using it in your ML or BI. You cannot do that. You need to clean it up. There is data wrangling, there is data prep, and then you have to match that data with your internal data sources. You have to integrate that data with your current data sets and bring it into your systems, whether those are BI systems, whether it is ML systems, your data platforms. You need to do that integration as well. So organizing the data for any kind of analytical process, that takes a lot of time, a lot of resources. And the last I want to hit is the risk, the inherent risk of using external data. So first of all, understanding the risk of return on the data. So it is not easy to determine the ROI of data before you purchase that data. You may do certain trials with sample data sets, but you may down the line realize that, okay, this is not delivering the kind of uplift or performance increase that you were looking for from these data sources. So that is an inherent risk of buying these external data sources. Then the data collected can pose compliance risk. You might want to make sure that the data is GDPR compliant, or you are not putting your comp at a risk of any kind of GDPR or compliance, the CCPA kind of compliance issues. And then once you bring the data in, it is not one and done deal, right? You need to make sure that it is continuously refreshed, it is accurate, it is clean. And if it quickly gets stale, then there is another performance risk around your businesses. And last is the signal loss. So you may develop and design your algorithms or data models based on certain data sets from a third party and external sources, and suddenly that signal or that data is no longer available. A very interesting example or recent example is loss of third party cookies or Apple iOS 14. So if that kind of data signals are stopped coming in, what do you do now? So you need to make sure that you understand these risks and these kind of issues around data access, the data usage, as well as the risk in the data. It makes the overall consumption of external data challenging. And we are going to take a look today at how to kind of eliminate these kind of challenges. With the challenges that can cause missed opportunities. So we found out that companies are spending a lot of money and time on external data acquisition without really understanding its real ROI. More than 81% of the companies were spending over $100,000 a month for external data acquisition. And that was just the start, right? Companies are spending over like 2 million, 5 million, even $10 million a year on external data acquisition. And then the time spent on the data acquisition. So 91% of the companies, they were spending more than 20 hours a month on just the data acquisition. And problem does not stop there. Once you have that data, your data scientists and business analysts are spending more than 80% of their time in data preparations, data cleanup, data matching, data integration kind of activities, even before they start providing any kind of value to the business. So that is a big issue. So the result is poor business performance, sluggish path to innovation. It impacts your customer experience because you don't have the right customer data or enough customer data. Your move to digital is quite slow. There is loss of revenue and inefficient marketing spends, inefficient sales operations. So there is a lot of impact on your operations as well as on your bottom line if you do not have the right data. And then the aspect of risk, increased fraud risk, increased credit risk, increased compliance risk with the data. So we want to make sure that we are not missing on the opportunities and we are not putting our companies against unnecessary risks. So once we understand the value of the data and the challenges with the data, and we start approaching to acquire and access the data, let's ask few questions here. And I was just going to go through this question, not in too much detail, but they are like pretty self-explanatory that what is the data we need, right? Depending on your use case, if you are doing small business credit or loan application processing, you may want to understand more about their business, whether it is reviews and ratings and foot traffic, their website registration dates, their registration on third-party sites, and then where do you get the data from? What are the sources available out there? Then you ask the question that how to validate the quality of data, what are the gaps, what are the risks, what are the missing cells in the data sets. And then comes the understanding of ROI. How do you evaluate the impact of data on your analytics, on your machine learning, on your business before you start using the data? You need to understand who is going to use the data. Is it the marketing ops person? Is it the sales operations person? Is it the business analyst or is the data scientist? Is the data ready for that kind of usage? Then how to prepare the data for that usage to make sure that the data is clean, data is prepared, that the data is model ready, as we say. And then how to match that data with your internal data sources and integrate that data with your analytics and ML platforms. Then ask the question, how frequently will this data be refreshed? You want to make sure that data is current, that data is clean, data is consistent throughout your usage. And if there are any model drifts that you can see because of the data, how can you easily fix that issue? And then at the end, number 10 is what are the privacy and compliance requirements that you must address before you start using the external data? So now the question becomes that what if you do not have to worry about all of this and you can just focus on solving your business problems? So if something is automatically taking care of all these 10 questions, and then you can focus on delivering that business value, building those models, making sure that model is performing and delivering that business results to the business objectives. And that's what the external data platform provides. That's where the external data platform comes in so that you don't have to worry about these things. So now we are going to jump into what is an external data platform. So what external data platform provides is that all the data from premier, public, and proprietary sources from hundreds of sources is available within the platform. And then tens and thousands of signals are available for you to use. And even beyond that, unlike the data marketplaces, the data is harmonized and it is what we say as model ready. So it is ready to be used easily in your BI and ML, and there is automatically matching happening so that the data that you are bringing in from the third party sources is nicely aligned to your data sets. You can add various data signals, you can add new columns to your data set for data enrichment, and the data is also ready for your machine learning usage right away. And also, as we discussed, understanding the impact, understanding the ROI before you deploy. So as the various data signals are incorporated in your internal data sets or for enrichments, you can see that how it's going to impact your machine learning models, the performance, or even your business analytics models. And you can make informed decision that do we want to include these data sources, these data signals or not before taking it to production. So the advantages are you can accelerate your competitive advantage with better lead generation and scoring of your leads, the better customer experience and personalization, targeted upsell and cross-sell opportunities. With all the data at your fingertips, you can really materialize all these use cases that you always wanted to do. And agility. So once the data sources or there is a signal loss or your business changed, you don't have to start looking for the new data sources. You can just go to the platform, get the new data sources and try new models and use new data sources. So you don't have to spend 6 and 7 months on searching the data and then acquiring and procuring the data and then cleaning up the data to get it ready for usage. So the agility is a huge, huge benefit here. Increase in operational efficiency, better ad spends, better mail optimization, better field sales optimizations. When your field sales people have access to better customer information, their needs, their priorities, and better scoring of those opportunities, they can be more efficient as well. And then we always talk about risk, lowering the credit risk, lowering the fraud risk, better GDPR and CCPA compliance, and all those use cases can be taken to production once you have the right data available within that platform right away. So external data platform is simplifying the external data access and its consumption. So what you are getting is easy access to all external data within one platform. Then system is helping you to validate the data and match that data and integrate that data with your internal data sets. You can understand the impact of data before you are actually using that data in production. You can run various scenarios to see which data sets, which features, which signals are really going to give you that increase in the performance of your predictive models or your analytics models. And then you develop and deploy those models. You can train your ML models. You can select the best model, and for production, you can fine tune your models and then deploy those final models to the production and then generate insights from that model as well. So it is kind of like end-to-end platform from data access to validation to matching to impact analysis to training your ML algorithms and taking it to production, and then continuously monitoring and improving your model performance on an ongoing basis to make sure that there are no model drifts. And if there are, you can quickly address them. So that is what is delivered by an automated external data platform. Now we'll take a very quick look at how Explorium helps with that. So first of all, Explorium platform is your single source of tens of thousands of data signals from hundreds of premier public and proprietary data sources. We provide a data gallery which is searchable, which helps you easily browse the data signals that are available. And then we are continuously adding more and more data sources. We have a big data hunters, for example, team, which is continuously looking for the new data sources as well as making those data sources model ready so that everything is available for you and it is curated, it is checked for correctness, completeness, and it is always refreshed on a continuous basis. Next is preparation for advanced analytics. So Explorium lets business analysts or citizen data scientist community or sales and marketing operations people to upload their data and find the right enrichments as well. So it is not just meant for data scientists, but if you're a business leader, you are an ops person, or you are a business analyst, you can definitely make use of this platform for data enrichments. And even if you do not have an initial data set, you can start by using Explorium starters, where you can create your own data sets based on your target industry, based on your target use case, based on your target market and segments. You can build your data sets from scratch as well. And then you can add data signals to your set where system will automatically match and align that data that you're looking for. For example, you are uploading data set about small businesses and you want to add their website, you want to add foot traffic data, you want to add when was this domain registered, and this system is automatically looking for those data signals and adding those data signals to the internal data sets that you have uploaded and automatically aligning and matching those signals with your data. So that is pretty cool. And as you are doing that, you can do various transformations. You want to do sums, you want to do differences, you want to clean all the empty cells, rows with the empty cells, you can do those transformations as well. And as you are enriching, as you are doing the transformation, the system is recording that flow. System is creating a recipe for you so that once that recipe is set, you can create a continuous pipeline of that recipe so that that data is now continuously delivered to the your downstream systems. So let's move over to what we have for data scientists. So data science team can upload their data sets, they can define their target values and see how they can improve their model performance with the best internal and external data. So we have really sophisticated capabilities around automatic feature generation and selection. Once you upload the data, the system searches through hundreds of data sources and thousands of signals to automatically suggest the features that can improve the model performance and make the impact on your business. So you can see the impact that, okay, if I'm adding these 100 features to my model, my performance will go up by such and such percentage. So you can actually see the uplift in your model, uplift in your AUC with the new feature sets. And then you can build and train the models with the most relevant data, and then you can see that impact before taking it into production. So the automated feature generation, automated feature selection, and understanding the impact before going to the production is the key here, and the system automatically does that for you. Now about the insights, right? So you get various insights to compare the models for the explainability as well as understanding the importance and impact of data signals before you deploy into production. So we provide various reports where you can really see and compare models as well as features and its impact on the models as well. And very quickly into deployment options. So our platform is quite open with the various deployment options available that fits your business needs. You can export the data or data sets or the models. The platform provides easy deployment options and you can access data via API. You can build data pipelines and schedule data orchestration, and you can integrate with your existing ML or BI platform. For example, you want to integrate it with Google BigQuery, you can do that. You want to take the data to Snowflake, you can do that as well. So all those options are available. Production monitoring, it helps you identify any kind of model drifts or outdated data that may require you to retrain your models or maintain the accuracy of predictions, and you can continue to deliver that business value on an ongoing basis. And again, last but not least, meeting the compliance requirements. So we want to make sure that you always get the current and compliant data. Data is continuously refreshed and the new data signals are added on a regular basis. In case of any signal loss, you can go back and look for alternative data sources and keep on improving your model performance as your business changes, as your business grows. You can keep on doing that. You can keep on adding more and more use cases and taking those to production to help your businesses. And the system is secure and goes through various rigorous testings and audits and certification. We want to make sure that you are working in a very secure environment and we adhere to all the privacy and compliance requirements as well. So that brings me to end of this session. But before we end, I want to make sure that we talk about our free trial. So we offer free trial of the platform, and I would highly encourage everyone, whether you are a business analyst, whether you are a marketing ops or sales ops person or a data scientist, to make use of this free trial and take it for a spin. It is really easy to use. I find a lot of fun with it. I hope you do as well. And there are other resources available as well to get you started, but definitely make use of this free trial as well. With that, I will conclude my presentation and hand it back to Vance.
Ajay, fantastic. A really great look at Explorium.ai, all the platform work you've done to make it very easy to on-ramp external data for the data that I've got that may need a little extra oomph to get the insight and the learnings that we need. Really great session.
Thank you so much, Vance.
You know, I think we've got some time for some questions, and we've got a very engaged audience here in this whole world of getting business value from machine learning and data in general. So let's get into some questions.
Absolutely.
You know, Ajay, we spent quite some time on your technology and your architecture, but we've got a little time here. Let's explore a little bit about the customer use cases. We've also got, in addition to data specialists and data scientists, a lot of business facing experts here at the show today. Maybe talk a little bit about some customer use case or some benefits, and maybe in particular in the context of what people have been doing during COVID to enrich their data.
Absolutely, Vance. And I think there are some very interesting use cases that came across, especially as you mentioned during the COVID times. So, what happened during the pandemic was that businesses, especially the small businesses, were shut down, like the restaurants, the convenience stores, or any kind of shops, right? And now, when these businesses are going and applying for loans, the data which was available prior to pandemic was practically unusable because situation has changed. The models that were created prior to pandemic, those were not really usable because again the situation has changed. So companies, whether those are lending companies or lot of challenger banks and fintech companies, they were looking for newer ways to evaluate that credit risk and even the fraud risk. A lot of frauds were happening in these new loan applications or PPP applications. So rather than just relying on internal data, they were looking for data like foot traffic, data like the ratings and reviews which were available online for that particular businesses. They were looking for information like that: when was this domain registered for this particular business? When did they renew those domain information? What kind of zip code these businesses are in? And what is the median income in those areas? So all these external data sources were incorporated to make those credit decisions, to understand any kind of like fraud application risk for those kind of applications as well. So we saw these interesting use cases emerging during these times. And also, as we see some light at end of the tunnel and businesses are coming back, so situation is reversed, right? So now businesses still want to make sure that they have the right data to make those right business decisions, whether it is credit, whether it is lending, whether it is insurance underwriting, and to incorporate all these data sources to make those decisions as well. And some of the other companies, like in consumer goods side, they are using external data to find their new customers. So they are using it for lead scoring as well as lead generation, because a lot of businesses have changed ownerships. A lot of businesses have shut down or new businesses have emerged. So now they want to go back and see that, okay, which businesses are ripe and how can they go and capture that shelf space right away as the small businesses are coming back. So there are a lot of use cases that we are seeing where external data is helping companies get back to businesses.
Wow, that's a great answer. In fact, it triggers a really good conversation, I think, because what you're suggesting there, Ajay, is that in addition to just taking the online forum at its word and with people might fill something in, as if you said with the PPP, I'm going way beyond Dun and Bradstreet to paint a richer picture of what that form tells me about the business with all this external data.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because if you want to make a decision about a business lending based on their revenues last year, you cannot make that decision, right? Because revenues were not even 20% of what they used to be. And what will come next will be very different as well. So, how can you make that decision if you're only relying on either the tax filings or just the revenues and profit and losses from previous year? So, that will not help. So, but we have to move forward. We have to make those business decisions, and external data provides a lot of those signals which are sometimes counterintuitive but can really help you improve your prediction models about such business decisions.
Yeah, I have to admit, as you were going through the laundry list of data sources that you were bringing into business, I mean, some of those sound very logical as you describe it, but I wouldn't have thought of them. So maybe we can kind of pivot to this question which came in. And I know you gave a good list of data sources you're accessing, but what are some of the more popular ones that you're finding? And maybe give us a hint as to where your data hunters, I think you called them, are looking for some new data sources.
Yes, this is a long list to really enumerate in this session, but we get the data from various sources, from premier data providers to the public sources like census or weather, or even the proprietary data that we create. We kind of bring certain data together and use derivative data to create additional signals. And our library is always growing, and we have more than 20,000 signals available for people to use. And that is the whole challenge as well as solution that we bring, is that you don't need to know all those signals. System is recommending that, okay, these are the signals that are critical to you. These are the signals that can improve your performance model. Yes, you can search, you can use that to create enrichments in your existing data sets. That is one use case. The other use case is system automatically recommending you. So we have the data team, which is continuously going out and looking for these new data sources, new data signals, and building these new signals so that we can keep on optimizing the performance of the models for our customers.
Excellent, excellent. And for folks that are just on-ramping with Explorium, you talked about the recommendation engine, or that you have recommendations, and we talked a little bit in your session about the ML you're using. Maybe give folks a little bit of a detailed explanation of how Explorium helps me find the precise third-party data that would really help make a difference and not just noise.
So there are multiple use cases. One use case we discussed about the business analyst, where you can bring in your data sets and you're looking for certain enrichments. For example, I'm looking for home improvement stores, and then I want to incorporate what is the median income in those areas, or what is the median home prices in that particular area. I can keep on adding those signals. This is one way of doing it. The other way is for the data scientists, when they are uploading their training data sets with certain target values to reduce risk, then system is automatically going to all these data sources, matching it against through thousands and thousands of features, and then selecting those features and saying that, okay, if you incorporate these 20 features, these 50 features in addition to what you have in your internal data sets, you can improve your AUC by like 15%, by like 8%. The performance of the model will go up by that much, and you can really evaluate that. So system is automatically going and searching for those signals and then matching those signals with your data sets. So that is where the whole magic happens, and it kind of reduces the time the data scientists spend on this whole activity from like 4 to 6 months to 1 or 2 hours. So that's the factor of difference that we are talking about here.
Ajay, this has been a great conversation so far. Just a couple more as time permits. You talked a lot about the other aspects of onboarding with Explorium, whether it's wrangling or integration or correlation. Talk about how Explorium is making that easy for folks and what levels of data management skill I might need.
Yes, I think that is the key aspect here, is that we are eliminating that need of data cleanups and matching that you will have to otherwise do. So once you bring in your data set, the system automatically does that matching for you. It does that entity resolution for you, that, okay, when we are talking about this particular business with this particular web address and we are adding the new data signal, it is automatically aligning and matching to that particular business. So the matching and entity resolution, that is automated. The data is clean, data is already curated, and once you want to integrate it with your internal data set, it automatically happens. And what you see is the model ready data, that this data can be right away taken to your Google BigQuery or taken to your Snowflakes, and you can start working with the data. It can automatically be consumed by your machine learning models, and you can start using it there as well. So we are eliminating all that need for the data prep, matching, entity resolution, and cleanup, which takes hours and months at a time for business analysts and data scientists to do before they can actually use that data. So system does that automatically for you. So we are not just providing thousands of signals, but also making it easy for them to use that.
Really important. Ajay, with that, I see time has expired, but we can't let you go without getting a sense of how folks can explore Explorium, so to speak, a bit deeper. You mentioned a free trial. I'm sure there's other aspects in the cloud that people could explore, including your ML engine. Give us a sense of how we can go learn more about Explorium.
Definitely. So again, would highly recommend to take advantage of our free trial. So that is available. We have provided a lot of other resources as well as the survey results that I talked about in the presentation. That whole report is available as well. And as you are thinking about your industry, your use cases on our website, go to the solution pages and see what are relevant use cases for your industries. What are the relevant data signals that are available for your industries and how you can use that. I'm sure you will find a lot of useful information there as well.
Excellent, excellent. Great suggestions, great overview session, and a really great look at the technology of Explorium.ai. Ajay Khanna, CMO at Explorium, thanks again for a terrific tour of a really important, useful platform for bringing my external data and my internal data more together for better insight. Really great session.
Thank you so much, Vance. Thanks for inviting me.
Our pleasure for sure. And just a quick note, Ajay mentioned that free trial. We've got a link to that directly right here, in addition to some other really popular assets at Explorium that'll help you explore the platform for your own business use. And as you can tell, there's a lot of innovation and out-of-the-box thinking going on at Explorium these days. We didn't have room for everything here in the breakout room. So here's a slide that'll take you directly to the Explorium website. Download Ajay's slides from this morning. All these links will be live to take you to some other terrific assets. So thanks again to Ajay and again to the attendees for some really great questions. Thanks again.